Thank you so much. I normally don't open my speech this way, but because today's theme is all about being bold, being courageous, proudly own what we achieved. So I'm going to share a little story I normally don't share on big stage. So for a long time, I knew I was the first Asian woman to complete the Explorer's Grand Slam. But it is about almost 6 years after that. One day, I had a conversation with my coach. She asked me, how many people in the world finished that? I said, I don't care, I finished. I don't know. I said, how many women? I said, I don't care, I don't know. And then my coach forced me, go count it. So I found out I was the number 4 woman in the world to complete this. I share this because for so many years, I didn't share the stories about what I have done. Because you can imagine on those teams, I was the smallest one all the time, and oftentimes I'm the only woman. So I was surrounded by men who have done first ascent of this one, have done the hardest run on that one, have done so many. So whenever people tell me, oh, you're the first woman or first person I've ever met who climbed Everest, now to say you did all the other things. And I was thinking, duh, all the people around me did Everest. All the people around me did harder things. So that's why I never shared that story. And that's why I'm sharing it today, is because we need to be proud of what we achieved and probably share it with the world, announce it to the world. Thank you. So today, the talk I want to talk about is achieve the seemingly impossible and why we should go for that. Because in today's world, we are in the most accelerated era in human history. And almost every leader I speak with is always, how do we keep up? But the truth is, the biggest risk is not technology. It's not a disruption. It's we underperform relative to our own potential. That's a tension between courage and what's the confidence, what's the comfort. So that tension is what's holding us back. We are shrinking our ambition. We are playing it safe. We're trying to protect what we have, when actually what we need is the bold, courageous leadership. Because I was once in that gap. Back more than almost 20 years ago, when I was in my 30s, I had on the paper everything you call success. I just graduated from Wharton with an MBA degrees. I was working in a prestigious finance job. I lived my life like everyone thinks it's a dream. However, something inside me felt off, and I couldn't name it. Then one night, after one long, exhausting day, just another day like any other day, I had a flash of fear. If I keep on living my life like this, I could see myself in a wheelchair in 10 years. That scared me. And then I came across a mountaineering documentary. Watching those heroic mountaineers making those heroic efforts, I just had this wild daydream thinking, what if I go after something totally impossible, like climbing Mount Everest? Maybe that will bring me back to life. And in case you didn't know, I grew up a typical Chinese kid. I was a city kid from Beijing, book nerd. I had no clue about anything related to sports. So in fact, the first time I came to Seattle, I saw Mount Rainier, and I asked my friend, that cloud look really weird. I didn't know mountain can be climbed. I thought that's only something you see on the photo in the museum. So when I had that wild daydream, all my colleagues laughed at me. They all had bigger daydreams about conquering the whole world or go to other planets. I said, yeah. So everyone just, even I myself was laughing at it because I never thought that was possible. All I really wanted was something motivate me to go to the gym. So I joined the gym, then running clubs and hiking groups. So before I knew it, climbing became my passion. And for the next 6 years, it's not just about fitness. It actually became a personal journey to discover who I am, what's my value. Because the biggest struggle, people always like to ask, oh, how's it on the mountain? What's the most dangerous moment? What's like the big things? But the hardest thing was to get to the base of this mountain. That took me 6 years. 6 years of doubt. 6 years of reshaping my life around one dream. Because think about it, at that time, I was carrying a heavy student loan, just graduated from MBA, and I came from a traditional Chinese background. My parents were panicking. We raised our daughter to go to America, to go to the best college, to get the best job. What are you doing with your life? You're trashing everything. So for me, the question was always, am I doing something wrong? Then what is right? What is wrong? Why am I supposed to follow that so-called track? The tracks of success, the career track. Who said I should be doing this job? So I started to question everything and wonder, who made all the decisions about my life? So on the surface, I made decisions every step because my parents gave me the whole freedom to choose what I want to do, what do I want to study. But I realized the choice was shaped by expectations. I wasn't painting my life on a blank paper. I was choosing my life between school B, school C, or job A, job B, job C. Okay, which one is the best school? Which one is the highest paid job? Which one is the best life? I was only choosing among the expected tracks. So discovering my passion in mountaineering was the first time in my life I ran into something called passion, which scared the hell out of me at that time. Because when we were young, our dream is about become a scientist, become a writer. That's what we learned in school. But climbing, in Chinese traditional expectation, that's not someone who is educated with this kind of background supposed to do. You are not supposed to do something that's not right. So that's the time that I did 6 years of soul searching, trying to find the answers, and realized in this life, no one can answer your life for you. You have to decide what's most important for you. How do you define your positioning in this world, your value, who you are, what's the meaning, what's the purpose of your life? It's all up to you to decide. So at that time, I realized there are so many people who are educated in computer science, which was my original education, who had MBA degrees, who know to do computer job, who know to do finance jobs, but we don't have enough people who have the courage to be thinking independently, to choose with their own path, follow their own passions. And I felt that is my calling to be courageous to show the world. You don't have to follow expectations. You can define your own path. So that motivated me to follow my own heart for 6 years, even though every time when I was using my annual vacations to go climbing, every time when I put on a leave, the out of office leave notice, I tell people, I don't know if I'll come back. Literally, right? So I always paid the biggest check that I ever paid to go on an expedition, and I never know if I'll come back alive or not. But I know I would not regret. So fast forward many years, when I finally made it to the base camp on Everest, a seasoned climber looked at me and basically said, Lei, you're not going to make it. I was not the strongest or the fastest. And halfway through the climb, I developed a lung infection and was sent down. So for 5 days, I wondered, is this the end of my dream? But what I learned is, we always think we need confidence to move forward. People always wondered, do you know you're going to summit? Do you believe you're going to summit? No, I had no clue. But you don't need confidence to start. You need the courage to start. Thank you. Confidence comes after action. Because confidence says, I know I can do this because I have done this, I have done that. But courage says, I don't know if I can do this, but I will step forward anyway. And courage is what leads us to next breakthroughs, leads us to the next meaningful steps. And that's why we need to pursue the seemingly impossible. Because the seemingly impossible is not about fantasy, it's not about unrealistic. The seemingly impossible is the next level of your performance that you are not comfortable with yet, because it requires growth beyond certainty. That requires courage. So during those many years of struggling, I was never sure how far I can go. And at one of the worst possible time, 11 months before Everest, I was recovering from ACL surgery. And one night, I almost quit. I called my mentor, and he said, Lei, go train. Show them what's possible. So I went out, running in the freezing rain in the dark night, tears mixing with storm. As I ran, I realized this climb was never about the summit. It was about becoming the kind of person who keeps climbing when it's easier to quit. And that is what pursuing the seemingly impossible builds in you, the courage. So this world, the acceleration will not slow down. The disruption is just a new constant. But courage will still decide who leads. The seemingly impossible is not about the summit. The seemingly impossible is not out there. The seemingly impossible is a future version of yourself asking to be trusted before it is proven. So the real question for everyone here is, who are you bold enough to become? Thank you.